Our next speaker, her name is, what a beautiful name, Jennifer Light. Yeah. Miss Light lives in the Quincy area and currently receives services through VinFen's program of assertive community treatment, which is also called ACT. Miss Light's recovery path reflects a great deal of personal courage, a great deal of strength to rise up to face a variety of difficult challenges and to now realize her potential to be more self-reliant and more self-directed and self-determined in her future. So Jennifer, come up and share with us your story.
So I'm really happy to be here in this room filled with people. I love that we can identify with each other, all of us, that we can sympathize with one another, empathize, more accurately, with one another as human beings. I like that we all share experiences, every single one of us. I think every one of you, at least, would be able to identify with one experience I've had in my life. Drinking water, checking my email. But like all of you, I'm unique. How I perceived my experiences is unique. Isn't that what makes us human? And yet, it seemed for a long time that how I perceived my experiences, how I reacted to my experiences was wrong, abnormal, sick. For over 20 years, I believed this. I came to believe it so singularly, in this absurdly limited version of who I was, that it became what I was, all that I was. I believed I was broken, and so over those 20 years, I took a lot of extreme measures to try to get it fixed. The only one that really matters now is the last one. So I swallowed a bottle of pills and I called 911. Now they'll fix me, I thought. They have to. They turned out to be a man who was just as human as me. His reactions and perceptions that cost me 6 years of my life. This man was a doctor at a psychiatric facility. The short version is he abruptly took me off of the medication that I had become simply dependent on. The withdrawal induced a total break from reality, a waking nightmare, an experience that led to a state of terror, a loss of hope, and a loss of self so fundamental, and it lasted for 6 years. Once out of the hospital, I did not leave my home. I did not go further than the front steps for 6 years. I spent days, even weeks, not speaking to another human being. I thought about killing myself every single day of those 6 years. And I was lucky. At this time, I was able to move back in with my parents. Otherwise, I would have been in shelters, on the street, homeless. Not everyone is so lucky. So one day, my mother said, "Why don't you apply for a DNH caseworker?" And I was like, "What is that?" 20 years, no idea what that was. I had no idea what that was, what would happen, and I was wary of the mental health system, to be perfectly honest, at that point because of my past experiences. But after 6 years of hell, because I felt like I had nothing left to lose. So I filled out some paperwork and got assigned a PAC team. And to my astonishment, They listened to me. They treated me with dignity. And they helped me. Eventually, my parents needed to move into elderly housing, so I was now looking down the barrel of inevitable homelessness. For someone who's afraid to leave their home, homelessness is paralyzing. Sorry. My clinician on my back team and I started leaving the house little by little. First, we got to the mailbox across the street. Then we, at one point, we went around the corner and I got my hair cut for the first time in 6 years, which was nice. One day, I just remember this really well. We were on a street near my house. It's a side street. And I kept saying to her, God, I love this street. I don't know what it is about this street. It's so great. I couldn't figure out what it was like paradise or something. Just this little street. And later I would realize it wasn't the street. The anxiety was starting to lift. For the first time in as long as I can remember, I actually felt okay. Something so alien to me, and I couldn't figure out what it was. We reached our first milestone. We got to the Registry of Motor Vehicles in Braintree, and I got my ID there, and I remember sitting in the waiting room, and I was okay. So once I had to move out, I lived in Hull for 2 months, which was pretty far from things that I'd become really familiar with, but I was okay. I was okay. I am back in Quincy now. I regularly go to the South Shore Mental Health peer-to-peer program, which is one of the most important things in my life and where I have met some of the most important people in my life. It is amazing. I go to Lexington, well, it was every week, but now it's monthly, but I'm getting certified as a peer specialist, or at least we'll see about that. I'm going back to college in the fall to finish my degree. And now, here I am at the State House speaking in front of a bunch of people. I think I figured out the secret to life, if anybody's interested. It's not easy at all, but it is very simple. I'm learning to accept who I am. That I'm not broken, I'm not wrong. I have experiences that are my own, but that other people can identify with. We as a human race, we have a shared uniqueness that we should celebrate. It's a beautiful thing. I realize that I'm an individual person, just like everyone else. Thank you.
This doesn't take nothing away from the fabulous work that Vincent does, because it does great work throughout the Southeast and the Northeast. But the PAC team that services, who rendered services to Jennifer, was not Vincent. I misspoke that, so that's my bad. Actually, it's the bad of the person who put it.
That's my typo.
His dad, and it's really South Shore who is. Let's hear for this people from South